You're strong, but you're not athletic, and I'm gonna tell you why. Look, do you feel completely out of place the moment you leave the squat rack and try to do anything remotely athletic? You can squat heavy, you clearly lift, but the second you try to do anything like sprint, it all falls apart. It's like you got bricks on your feet and you're kind of like a baby giraffe trying to find its way around for the first time. So in this video, I'm gonna explain 5 different principles you need to understand if you wanna actually start moving like an athlete instead of just looking like one. First things first, strength is a quality. It's your ability to produce force, but athleticism is a skill. It's your ability to express that force quickly in the appropriate direction to get from one position to the next as fast as you can and as efficiently as you can. Now, those are 2 very different problems. See, in the weight room, everything is controlled. The tempo, the load, the positions. But on a track, field, or court, and especially if you haven't sprinted in years, control is like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. At top speed, your foot produces up to 5 times your body weight and spends around 0.1 seconds on the ground. That blip you just saw, that was 0.1 seconds. But this is about 3 seconds, which is roughly how long it might take you to grind through a really heavy squat. So yes, you can lift a ton of weight, but athleticism is about being able to use that strength in fast, chaotic environments that oftentimes require an element of decision making. Things like accelerating, re-accelerating, braking, changing direction. That requires strength, but also power, speed, stability, rhythm, coordination, and timing. See, athleticism isn't just about strength. It's the interaction of all those qualities working together to accomplish a common goal. Like we said earlier, most lifters train in very slow, controlled environments. And there's nothing wrong with that, but sprinting is fast. And to do it well requires things most lifters have never trained. Things like stiffness, projection, rhythm, elasticity. If it's been years since you sprinted at full speed and done it consistently, your nervous system just hasn't been exposed to those demands. And that includes those of you who grew up playing sports. Because if it's been a few years, your nervous system has become deconditioned. Look, you need to understand that the body can only adapt to what it's been repeatedly exposed to. I mean, that's adaptation 101. And you don't become coordinated at speed by lifting slowly. You don't develop rhythm by grinding reps, and you don't learn how to strike the ground by living under a barbell. So when you step onto a track and it feels foreign, it's because it is. But the good news is it's not because you're weak, and it's definitely not because you're out of shape. It's because you're underexposed. Now, this is where things get uncomfortable. In the gym, you know your way around. You know what you're doing. You move with confidence, you feel capable, but on a track, you're a beginner again. And most people, speaking from experience, hate that feeling. It feels like you should be able to do this, but somewhere along the way, the message from your brain to your muscles is getting lost in translation. You start overstriding, the legs are spinning, your arms are flailing like one of those things outside the tire shop. But the important part to understand is this isn't a strength problem. They're organization problems, and organization at speed is a skill. Now, here's where people really mess it up. They decide they want to get more athletic, so they keep lifting, but they also add in things like sprints and jumps and plyos. But instead of adjusting things like volume, intensity, and frequency of their strength training, they just layer on all that other stuff. So what used to be these 60-minute workouts a few days a week quickly turns into these 5-day-a-week workouts that last 90 minutes, 2 hours. And they do this all overnight. Now, this lasts a few weeks, maybe 3, until the knees start barking and the Achilles, yeah, it's complaining a little bit. And you can't remember the last time you walked into a workout actually feeling fresh. See, here's the thing you gotta understand when it comes to programming all of these things together. You can't maximize strength, power, hypertrophy, and speed concurrently. In other words, all at the same time. It's too much for the muscular system, and it's definitely too much for the nervous system. See, speed requires freshness. It requires intent, not hard work for hard work's sake. And it's definitely not something you tack onto an already maxed out program just because you want to get as athletic as you can, as quick as you can. Like anything, it's something you got to ease into. And it requires at least a basic understanding of program design. Now, here's the shift I want you to make. Strength gave you a great foundation to work off of. But like we said earlier, athleticism is something different. It's the interaction of qualities like strength, power, speed, agility, and stability. Remember, athleticism is a skill. And like any skill, it requires consistent exposure, integration, and refinement. So if you've ever stepped onto a track and maybe felt like you didn't belong, you're not unathletic. You're just underexposed. And there's a big difference between the two. Once you understand that, everything changes. Now, in the next video, I'll show you how to integrate things like sprinting, jumping, and plyos into your strength program without wrecking your recovery. So stick around, because on this channel, we're building athleticism the right way.